So, what's the story between the lines, and exactly what is the superintendent objecting to? What parts of this?
Sure, thanks for having me on. The story Between the Lines is about a 17-year-old named Delilah McPhee. Delilah, because of her parents' divorce, moves to a new high school in junior year, the worst time to switch schools. She starts getting bullied by the resident mean girls, and so she becomes obsessed with a fairy tale book that's really designed for middle readers. She's obsessed because the prince really just grabs her eye. And then, through a strange turn of events, the prince starts actually speaking to her, and because it's a musical, singing to her. And hilarity ensues.
Tim, how are you involved with the production, and what's your reaction to this decision?
So I'm the co-book writer. I wrote the show with my writing partner, Jodi Picault. And the show was licensed by Music Theater International. And with that license, they are given a free copy of the show to read in advance. They can suggest any edits they need, and we, the writers, will change those for them. In addition, they were provided with an errata sheet of any changes that might be sort of questionable for high schools, because this was an off-Broadway show performed in New York City originally. So the show got shut down after 160 hours of rehearsals, which is a terrible tragedy. Think of all these young people, all the hard work they did. And honestly, the superintendent's claims are not only false, it's clear that he did not read or attend a rehearsal. So it would be sort of like starting a high school football team and then showing up before the first game and being like, wait, they're going to get knocked to the ground and may get concussions. It's just not right.
Right, and you are responsible, or for this itheatrics. You founded this, and you adapt hundreds of Broadway shows for schools, from Annie to Xanadu. I know that my children's high school did Chicago, which is pretty racy. Is this just a personal decision on the part of this specific superintendent, or are there others that have raised concerns that led it to his desk?
I don't know the background of it. I'm a New York City playwright. And with itheatrics, the school your kids did in Chicago, we would have adapted that to make it appropriate. You saw the show. Hopefully you weren't offended by anything that was up there. It is a pretty racy show, but we work with the authors to make sure that they approve all of these changes, because this is copyright protected material. I don't know anything else that has happened besides the same thing you do.
So, was this production adapted? I mean, did the superintendent talked about concerns about sexual innuendos, alcohol? Were there changes made to this production?
Absolutely. With the license from Music Theater International, the teacher would have been given an errata sheet that would have had all kinds of changes. It's also available on MTI's website, musictheaterinternational.com. Also, the superintendent could have gone on to Amazon Prime and watched our show. It's available there. The off-Broadway production, again, could have read the script, could have dropped into rehearsal and see what was going on and made adjustments rather than shutting it down.
Tim, by this standard, how much would you worry for classic shows, dozens of them being canceled?
Well, using that standard, nothing can be performed. I mean, Beauty and the Beast, there's a whole drinking song. Come on. And,
Newsies.
Newsies, yes. And sexual innuendo is, so subject to the person who's watching it and receiving it, and can actually be contained by just what the choreography is. So now this is nonsense. And I really feel badly for the kids and that teacher. Imagine being a senior and this is your last musical and it's taken away from you.
So in eighth grade, I hate to admit this, but I was in Bye Bye Birdie. Yeah, I had to sing.
Were you Conrad Birdie?
No. I was Hugo, and I had to play. There's a drunk scene where he gets drunk, and he says that he drank milk, and obviously he's wasted, and I fell into a garbage can or something. I mean, for me, it was fun. I knew I was just play acting, but I had fun with it.
Well, Tim, I got to tell you this. If we're telling stories, I was so bad at singing but I had like an enthusiastic personality. So when we did Bye Bye Birdie, they said I could be part of the teen fan club choir, but I had to lip sync. I could not actually sing.
Oh, so they censored.
Tim,
Karen.
Is this the end of it, or what do you want to do next?
No. So we've reached out to the school. We've offered to fund if they want to the teacher. If they want to take it off campus, we'll fund to make that happen. Right now, the teacher and the community is just sort of reeling. The parents were very against this decision. I also invited them to come perform at my junior theater festival in Atlanta, Georgia, in front of 7,000 theater-loving kids. So I think this show and these kids are going to have their time in the limelight, and we're doing everything we can to make it happen.
All right, Tim McDonald, thanks for being here on Connecting America.
Thanks for having me.